Let me ask you something. Have you ever opened your bank app just for a second and immediately felt that slight tension in your chest? Not panic exactly, but something close to it. Like you already know what you're about to see. Your salary came in not that long ago and somehow it doesn't feel like it anymore. It feels smaller, quieter, like it passed through your hands instead of staying with you. And maybe you tell yourself the same thing a lot of people do. Next month will be different. But then next month comes and it looks almost exactly the same. I've been there. That quiet cycle where you're not doing anything obviously wrong, but things still don't move forward. And for a long time, I thought the answer was simple. Be more disciplined. Spend less. Track everything. Stay in control. But here's the part no one really explains properly. Discipline works until it doesn't. It works when you're focused, when you're motivated, when life is calm. But real life isn't like that. You get tired. You have long days. Unexpected expenses show up. Your energy drops. Your attention shifts. And suddenly the system you were relying on, your willpower, starts breaking down. Not because you're weak, but because it was never designed to carry everything. And once you see that clearly, something changes. You stop blaming yourself and you start asking a better question. Not, why can't I stay consistent? But why am I relying on something inconsistent to manage something so important? Because money isn't just about numbers. It's about behavior. And behavior is heavily influenced by your environment, by what's easy, by what's automatic, by what requires the least effort in the moment. Think about your day for a second. From the moment you wake up, you're making decisions. Small ones, big ones, constant ones. Messages, work, family, responsibilities, problems you didn't expect. Your brain is working all day. So by the time money decisions show up, you're not at your best anymore. You're operating on whatever energy you have left. And in that state, you don't choose what's optimal. You choose what feels easier. Spend now, deal with it later. That's not a lack of intelligence. It's not a lack of awareness. It's just human nature. And this is where most people get stuck, because they think the solution is to try harder, to be more aware, more disciplined, more in control. But the people who are actually calm about money, the ones who don't feel that constant pressure, they're not trying harder every single day. They've just changed the system. They've designed their finances in a way where the right actions happen without needing their constant input, without needing daily decisions, without needing motivation. They've removed themselves from the most fragile part of the process, and that's the moment of choice. So instead of asking, how do I make better decisions with money? They ask, how do I make fewer decisions but better ones by default? That shift is everything because it leads you to something simple but incredibly powerful: automation. Now I know the word automation can sound technical, complicated, like you need some complex setup or advanced tools. But in reality, it's one of the simplest things you can do and one of the most impactful. At its core, automation is just this. You decide once, and then you let that decision repeat itself consistently without needing to think about it again. Let's break this down in the most real way possible. Right now, most people manage money like this. Income comes in, it sits in one place, and then everything, spending, bills, savings, comes out of that same pool. And somewhere in your mind, there's this idea, I'll save what's left. But if you're honest, there's rarely anything left because life doesn't work that way. Expenses expand, needs feel urgent, wants feel justified, and whatever is available gets used. So saving becomes optional, delayed, inconsistent. Now imagine flipping that completely. Instead of saving last, you save first, automatically, immediately, without thinking about it. The moment your income arrives, a portion of it leaves, not as a reaction, but as a system. You don't see it sitting there. You don't negotiate with yourself about it. You don't delay it. It just happens. And what's left, that's yours to use, freely, without guilt, without overthinking. Now, at first, this might feel uncomfortable, even restrictive, like you're limiting your own choices. But something interesting happens when you actually live this way. You feel lighter, not heavier, because you're no longer carrying that constant question. Am I spending too much? Should I be saving instead? Am I falling behind? Those questions fade because the important part is already handled. And this is where the real benefit shows up, not just financially, but mentally. Because money stress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, constant, sitting in the background of your thoughts, even when you're doing something completely unrelated. Automation removes that background noise, not instantly, but gradually. Because every time your system runs, it sends a signal to your brain. Things are under control. And over time, you start to believe it. Now, here's the part most people don't expect. We think control comes from being more involved, checking balances daily, tracking every rupee, watching everything closely. But real control often comes from stepping back, from trusting a system that doesn't depend on your daily attention. Because attention is limited, energy is limited, and if your financial life depends entirely on both, it becomes fragile. One stressful week, one unexpected situation, and everything falls apart. But a system doesn't get tired. It doesn't get emotional. It doesn't procrastinate. It just runs. So, what does this actually look like? In real life, not theory, not perfection, just something you can sit down and set up in less than 30 minutes. It starts with a decision, a simple one. Not perfect, just honest. How much of your income do you want to protect? Consistently, not occasionally, not when things are better, but every single time you get paid. It could be 5%, it could be 10%, it could start even smaller. The exact number isn't the most important part. Consistency is. Then you create separation, a different account, a different space, somewhere your savings can exist without being mixed into your daily life. Because when everything is in one place, everything feels available. And when everything feels available, everything eventually gets used. Then comes the key step, automation. You set up a transfer that happens automatically, the moment your income arrives. Not later, not manually, immediately. Because timing changes behavior. If money sits in your account too long, it starts to feel like spending money. But if it moves instantly, it becomes something else, something protected. And if you want to go a little deeper, you can automate investing too. Small amounts, regularly, without overthinking. No need to predict markets. No need to time anything perfectly. Just steady movement over time. And here's something people don't talk about enough. Automation reduces decision fatigue. Every decision you remove from your life frees up energy, and that energy shows up in other areas. Your work, your relationships, your focus, your mental clarity. Because you're no longer constantly negotiating with yourself. You've already decided, and the system is simply following through. There's also something incredibly grounding about knowing even if you have a bad month, even if you overspend a little, even if things don't go exactly as planned, you still made progress because the system didn't stop. That builds a different kind of confidence. Not loud, not performative, but steady, quiet, real. The kind that says, I'm not perfect, but I'm moving forward. Now, let's be real for a moment. This isn't magic. It won't fix everything overnight. If your income is tight, you'll feel that at first. If you're used to full flexibility, this structure might feel uncomfortable. But that discomfort is temporary, because what you're really doing is shifting from reactive to intentional, from chaos to structure. And once that structure is in place, something subtle begins to happen. You stop thinking about money all the time. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it's no longer demanding your attention constantly. It's handled. And that creates space. Space to think about bigger things, your future, your work, your direction. Because at the end of the day, money is not just about numbers. It's about time. It's about options. It's about the ability to make choices without fear sitting behind them. Automation doesn't make you rich overnight, but it makes you consistent. And consistency, over time, is what changes everything. So if you've been feeling stuck, if it feels like every month resets, If it feels like you're trying but not moving, maybe it's not about trying harder. Maybe it's about building something that works even when you don't. Something simple, something quiet, something consistent. Because progress with money is rarely dramatic. It's small actions repeating automatically over time. And one day, you look back and realize you're not where you used to be. Not because of one big moment, but because of a system that kept going, even when you didn't think about it. And that's a different kind of financial life. Not stressful, not chaotic, but steady, calm, grounded. Now, before you go, if this felt real to you, if at any point you thought, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to hear, then don't just leave it there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, Wealth Vault, because this is exactly what we do here. Real conversations about money without the noise. And if this video gave you even a little clarity, go ahead and like it. It genuinely helps it reach more people who are stuck in the same cycle. And I'm curious, where are you right now in your financial journey? Are you just starting, trying to figure things out, or already building something? Drop a comment below, even one line. I read every single one. I'm Mike, this is Wealth Vault, and I'll see you in the next one.